Sacred Sites with Steve Ray, here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.
Dzień dobry in the afternoon here from Poland. We're on a bus. This is really exciting because I've done your show now for several months, but this is the first time we've actually done it live on a pilgrimage. And you'll see next to me my wife. She's usually, when we do the show, she's always in the background. She doesn't like to be seen. But here she is, because when we do pilgrimage, she's always by my side. Here is our great guide. His name is Jacek. He is a theologian, and he's a guide here. And there's Father Alfonso, who's our priest from Barcelona, Spain. And we're driving through Krakow right now. Here's a whole bunch of people on the bus. They're all going to cheer and say hello to you. There's even a guy here who is part of Guadalupe Radio, helps you with sponsoring it down there. But anyway, today we're in the middle of Krakow, and we just did a walking tour all around this amazing city. You know, they're celebrating this year 1,000 years as a Catholic country. I mean, that's how long have we existed in America? You know, we're not about 250 years old. This is 1,000 years this year. They're celebrating their Catholic history here in Poland. And I wanted to just say that the first day we went up to Zakopane, which is up, I say, but it's really south. It's right on the southern border. And that's where John Paul II went on vacation and went skiing and spent his time relaxing. Then we went to Wadowice, which yesterday was the whole day. And that was the birthplace of John Paul II. And it was just, his house has been turned into a museum. More pictures and memorabilia and movies than anywhere you're ever going to find anywhere. And one of the things that it's a great time to celebrate that great Pope, John Paul II, in his hometown, now a saint. And in his hometown, it's still very quaint like it was. And his house has been turned into a museum. So we could walk through, see the living room that him and his father lived in, because his mother died when he was 9, and his sister died, and his brother died. And it's a sad story, but God used all of that to bring him into the priesthood and eventually to be the Pope. But to walk through their living room and their kitchen and the bedroom that him and his father shared during those years, and you look out one window and you see the school he went to, and you look out the other window and you see St. Mary's, where he was baptized and where he went to it was his parish church. We took a group picture in front of us there, in front of his parish church. And by the way, if you go on my website, CatholicConvert.com, you can see videos. I'm putting up videos every day of our pilgrimage here, so you can kind of take a virtual pilgrimage with us. But walking through that house, the pictures of him as a young boy, growing up, becoming a priest, and then going through all the years with the Nazis and all the years with the Soviet Union, and seeing the providence of God in his life as he prepared him for the priesthood. And what a manly man he was. Not only a writer and a theologian, but also a kayaker and a skier and a camper. And he loved young people, and the young people loved him because he was a lot of fun. What an amazing thing for God to bring him. We're into the papacy right now. We're waiting for the conclave to start on May 7th, and we have no idea who's going to be the Pope. Who would have dreamed back then that a Polish Pope would become the Pope of the Catholic Church? Who would have ever dreamed that would happen? Who knows what the Lord's going to do for us in the next month or so. But anyway, that was a wonderful time. And we had Mass in the parish church in front of the baptismal font where he was baptized, and took a group picture there. But now I want to talk about the Divine Mercy, which was Sunday. We made a strategic decision to avoid the Divine Mercy Shrine on Sunday. Why? Because there were planned to be hundreds of thousands of people showing up, and they were. It would have been almost impossible to get in there with a bus. Parking lots were closed. The churches were full. People were lined up in the streets even to try and get into the shrine. So what we did is we went there on Saturday. We got the whole day to visit the shrine unimpeded by crowds. We even had one of Maria Faustina's sisters give us a talk for an hour and explain to them about their vocation and their spirituality. She was just delightful. Took a tour of the whole place. And then at 2 o'clock, we had Mass a private mass with our priest in the chapel in the Basilica of the Divine Mercy. It was the vigil mass of the Divine Mercy Sunday. It was at 4 o'clock, that mass. I'm sorry, 4 o'clock. And then we prayed also the Divine Mercy with the whole group. Already there were thousands of people there. But on my videos that I put up on my website, we show the big basilica full of people. We tried to get in the actual chapel of the Divine Mercy, but people were standing outside on the sidewalk, couldn't even get in. So we went to the basilica, most of us, and we prayed the Divine Mercy there, and we had mass there, and we had a talk from the sister. It was really quite an amazing time. And the word mercy is used 312 times in the Bible. So this divine mercy is a very biblical thing. Divine is used 13 times, means God or things related to God. And mercy, imagine 312 times. John Paul II and the church have said that mercy is the most amazing and most special of the attributes of God. He's powerful, he's merciful, he's loving, he's just, all of these things. But mercy is the number one because it's his heart of love that he gives toward us who are undeserving sinners. And he gives us that mercy. And it's such an amazing thing that God, who created the universe, that it has trillions of light years from one end of the known universe to the other, with stars and planets and galaxies that are trillions of light years away and billions of light years across. That God who created all of that looks down on us, on this little speck of dust called the earth, and he created us in his image. And even though we rebelled against him and sinned against him, that amazingly powerful God, who we have no idea how amazing he really is, we still think of him as an old man sitting up on a chair in heaven somewhere. But in reality, he's pure spirit. He's everywhere, all powerful, all knowing. And he has mercy on us little creatures down here who he made in his image. And he loves us. And that's what the whole divine mercy is about, that he continually loves us. You know, God has what's called an essence. That's what he is, his substance. He's pure spirit. But part of his essence is he is all powerful, all knowing, all loving, all that. But then he has attributes, those things that flow from him, like mercy and love and justice. The fact that he has mercy for us and love, the very fact that he's eternal, means that his love is eternal. His mercy is eternal and everlasting, all powerful, no limits to it. And this is what the church has really tried to emphasize over the last years as the great mercy of God. And so when we're there at the Divine Mercy, the Polish people, by the way, are very devout. They're very Catholic. They've gone through the Soviet years and even before that, the Nazi years. How did they stay Catholic through all of that? Because they stayed united, not like the rest of Europe that split up into all these Protestant denominations and they broke away. Germany is in many ways almost an atheistic country, especially in the East today, because they split up. But the Polish people stayed faithful to the Pope and to the church and to Jesus Christ. And to this day, even though they went through Soviet Union and the Nazis and communism, they stayed staunchly Catholic, and they still are today. So it's really wonderful to be here and see them, because they are a devout people, and you would be amazed how many kids they have. Poland has a lot of kids. In the West, most of the countries are having fewer and fewer children, but everywhere in Poland, there's kids everywhere, strollers everywhere. And it's wonderful to see this, what's happening in Poland in the Divine Mercy. Now we're on our way to the salt mines, and these salt mines are spectacular. 800 steps up and down that we're going to be going under these salt mines. But in the salt mines, there's 40 Catholic chapels, and there's a big, huge church carved out of salt with images of the Last Supper carved in salt along the walls, and lights and chapels, and a big, huge statue of John Paul II carved out of salt. By the way, people here love John Paul. And then The next couple days, we're going to be going to Auschwitz, and we're going to follow Maximilian Kolbe and go down into the cell where he gave his life for a man who was a father of many children. And it's just a wonderful time we're having here. I wish all of you were with us. I'm glad I can share it with you for 10 or 15 minutes here. But if you want to watch this, I'm putting up all the videos on my website at CatholicConvert.com, and I'm putting up virtual videos every day of our trip, so you can kind of come here with us if you want to virtually. And by the way, thanks for letting me do this show. It sure is a lot of fun.
Sacred Sites with Steve Ray is heard live every Monday on the Guadalupe Radio Network program Morning Joy, hosted by Keith Downey. For more authentic Catholic content, go to grnonline.com/joy.